Hey everybody, welcome back for some Evolution Legends content. Today we're going to be continuing our faction series and we will be taking a look at Wastes. This faction is widely considered to be the best in the game at this point due to several really awesome high damage heroes. So let's jump in and take a look at some of these. Okay, the first hero we're going to take a look at is Phlebose. I don't know, it's Phlebose or Phlebose. I say Phlebose usually. Yeah, cool looking character. Love the artwork on him. Love the animation. Guy's probably considered the second best tank in the game behind Kronos. He's just an absolute beast. Both his survivability, has a lot of health, has a lot of armor, and his ability to CC a lot, like stun the opponents a lot, just add to his utility and ability to really control the pace of the game and support your team. So let's take a look at some of his abilities. Savage Blow shakes the earth with unparalleled force, dealing 250% of attack damage to a front row target and adjacent enemies with a 45% chance of stunning the target for 1 round. Yep. Obviously doing a lot of damage output to the front line, and additionally it's just adding that ability to CC. 45% chance is pretty good, and I think some of his other abilities, and even that chance is even higher to stun the targets. So definitely very useful, very powerful. Death Roar, whenever Phlebose is attacked 3 times, his next base attack will become a Death Roar and deal 250% of attack to current enemy and any targets on either side, and reduce the target attack by 40% for 2 rounds. Just some added utility there. Death Roar does pretty significant damage, but then like reducing their attack for 40% for 2 rounds is really big. Colossus, HP increases by 60%, armor increases by 40%, and deals an additional 50% damage to stun targets. So that extra 50% damage to stun targets is huge, because he's gonna be stunning a lot of the enemy line. Basically, at roughly about a 50% chance, 45% chance to stun. He's definitely going to be hitting guys that are stunned, so he'll put out even more damage as well, which is nice. And then Shocking Roar, when Death Roar is cast, has a 70% chance of stunning enemies for 1 round. So again, this is just buffing his chance to do those stuns. That combined with the fact that he's going to be doing 50% more damage to stunned enemies makes this guy just an all-around beast. Definitely somebody that you want to run in your lineup. If you get multiple copies of him, I would invest in him and level him up and run him as one of your main tanks for sure. Okay, let's take a look at Vebulon. Vebulon is an absolute monster. He has the ability to wipe entire lines as he gets like up in higher levels. When he attacks and he's in his lightning form, he does chain lightning that just bounces from target to target and does additional damage. He is just a massive damage outputter. So let's take a look at his abilities here. Vebulon stomps on the ground, dealing 240% of the attack damage to current target and adjacent enemies, dealing an extra 80% of attack damage when in lightning form. So 320% attack damage when he's in lightning form, and not only to the enemy in front of him, but adjacent enemies as well. On top of that, Thunder Possession has a 20% chance to enter lightning form and being attacked for the next 5 rounds. Basic attacks will cast chain lightning that bounce up to 3 times, dealing 210% of attack damage on the first strike and 15% damage, minus 15% damage each consecutive strike. So, on top of doing this 320% damage on an attack when he's in lightning form, as the lightning spreads out, does an additional 210% to additional enemies as it bounces around. So yeah, when he's gets on a roll and he starts attacking multiple times, and you're getting his ult up and he's popping off, yeah, he's doing tons of damage and just melting the enemy team. Definitely also, if you tech him out with like an artifact, like the legendary artifact Covenant of War, where as his health decreases, he's going to do it increases his attack percentage by like more and more as the battle goes on. So that combined with these abilities is just devastating for the enemy line. War Giant, passive skill, attack increases by 60%, HP increases by 60%. And then Thunder Massacre immediately enters lightning form after killing a target with an additional 70% armor break when in lightning form. Yeah, again, just additional buffs, additional chance for him to get in that lightning form. Once you get in that lightning form, he's just terrifying. You will absolutely hate fighting this guy. In Gaia Tree as you get the higher levels, and in the campaign as you get the higher levels. As a boss, he's just so devastating because he will just stomp on your team and just like you just see them all die. It's pretty depressing. So you have to kind of tech out for it. You got to put a lot of damage mitigation, things like kingdom protection and stuff like that, or try to CC him, try to get him in line with somebody that can stun him like Phlebose or Ungriel, and that could like stun him for a couple rounds and it's reduce like the impact he has on your team. So but definitely a beast, must have if you're playing Waste or even any other team. Like just having him in your lineup is an absolute blast, watching him just decimate the other line. Okay, let's take a look at Vashti. This is a hero that I admittedly have not used a lot of. I have several copies of him. I haven't leveled him too much yet. I probably will. I know some people, I've seen some people really love him. I don't see him in a ton of lineups and some of when you look at the rankings and the teams in campaign and PvP and whatnot. What I do know is that he's a bit of a glass cannon. He'll target a single target and he'll focus on that target till it's dead. He does things like he debuffs them and he buffs himself. Problem with him is he's got kind of weak armor and he's got low health, so he's pretty squishy. So if he goes down early, you just don't get enough value out of him. So let's just take a look at some of the abilities. Shadow Kill, rushes toward target with 2 daggers, dealing 390% of attack damage to the current target. I mean, that's huge. 390% of attack damage to the current target is just, that's a lot of damage. And that current target is usually when the match starts, is this Nemesis. So Nemesis is when entering battle, choose the highest attack enemy hero as Nemesis. Basic attacks and active skills will prioritize this target and lower its attack by 45% for 2 rounds. That's pretty cool. It lowers the attack by 45% for 2 rounds, and then he's just kind of burning them down. It does kind of suck when that target is not somebody that you want him attacking. Like if you want the priority to be something else, you don't have the ability to control that at all. Even if you change his lane and you shift him around, he's always going to target that highest attack enemy every single time. So that sometimes is really good and sometimes that could be bad. Sharp Edge, attack increases by 55% each time Nemesis takes 1 hit from a basic attack or active skill. Vashti will deal an extra 20% damage up to 300% total. Yeah, again, just another passive that's just buffing his attack ability. And then Slaughter Thrill, when your Nemesis dies, recovers 45% max HP to kind of add some survivability to him, and gains 50% evasion for 3 rounds. Again, this is just there because he is a glass cannon. He's kind of weak in terms of health and armor. This just is there to try to help him survive longer. But in my experience, he goes down pretty quickly and has never really been a problem for me when I've battled against him. So, but I definitely want to give him a try. If you guys have used him to great effect, you really like him, if you've built a team around him, I would love to know what that team looks like, and leave me a comment or reach out to me and let me know what you think and how I can use him better. Okay, next, Fangram, single target damage dealer, does do damage to the enemy behind the front line as well, but high burst output, really cool character. I've not used him a ton myself. I've used him at certain points along the way, and had pretty good success with them. But then when I've had other heroes come in like Vebulon and stuff like that I've just replaced him out with. But I know some people definitely run him for some of the early and mid game. And maybe even some in the late game that really like him, because he does have a silence effect that keeps the enemies from being able to use their ultimates, which can be really beneficial at times. So Piercing Blow deals 270% of attack damage to current target and the target behind it, with an additional 80% attack bleed damage for 4 rounds. So really good damage up front to the target and the target behind it, and then that added bleed damage over a couple rounds just adds to his overall damage output, which is nice. The other thing to keep in mind with the fact that he's hitting the target behind the front line or your main target is that like your positioning of him kind of it makes you got to think about where you want to position him, because if you're fighting a team that has like maybe like a Medusa or something on the back line that's causing you a lot of problems, then you put this hero in that lane against her. He's going to hit that target in front of her, that tank, and then he's going to hit her behind and just help burst her down and get her out of the game as fast as possible. Battle Cry. At the beginning of battle, cast a Battle Cry that reduces all enemy armor break by 40% for 2 rounds. Will only be cast once if multiple Fangrams in the lineup. So yeah, Battle Cry reduces that armor for 40%, and I think this Piercing Cry, when casting Battle Cry, has a 50% chance of silencing the target for 2 rounds. So basically, these two things together, when the match starts, he's gonna do the Battle Cry, and then he's gonna reduce your entire team's armor break by 40%, which is gonna help his team, especially his tanks, survive longer. And then he's going to has a chance to silence them. I mean, I've been against the PvE, I've like had my whole team silenced before. It's crazy, then they basically for 2 rounds can't use any of their ultimate abilities. It's actually pretty devastating. So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people, like I've seen people advocate for him, is that silence ability, especially in certain situations you may need to put him in, because when you're fighting an enemy line that's like getting their ults right away or getting them quickly and those just ulting your team down like in round 2, then having him in your lineup can help mitigate some of that. And then Heavy Strike attack increased by 70%, crit increased by 50%, just buffing his damage output. So yeah, he can definitely put out a lot of damage. Definitely worth a try. Give him a chance. Let me know what you think about him in the comments. Okay. Grisnar Chainsaw. I have used this guy a bit. Just mainly because I just love his art. I love this spider mech that he's in. He just looks so cool. I just love like the laser and chainsaw he's got on there. It's just really cool looking. He's pretty good tank. I used him for a while, and then I got some better tanks like Cronus and things like that and moved on from him. But I do see some people using him as well, kind of in the late game. Let's just take a look at some of his abilities here and talk through them. Spins Chainsaws. So this is Chainsaw Storm. Spins Chainsaws 1 to 3 times, dealing 150% of attack damage to current target and any targets on either side, with an 80% chance each spin to deal an additional 90% attack bleed damage for 3 rounds. So this is a really good ability when it lands 3 times. When it hits like even 2 times, it's not that bad. 3 times is awesome. It does a lot of damage, adds that bleed damage, and just is devastating to the front line. But man, it just hurts when he only hits once. Like if this was an automatic 2 or 3 swing consistently every time, this guy would be just a monster. But like the fact that it only swings 1 time sometimes is just hurts. Hack and Slash. After Grisnar Chainsaw performs a basic attack, there's a 70% chance to attack again for 180% of attack damage. He basically does 2 strikes real quick that do quite a bit of damage when they both land. And then this third one, Laser Cannon Shot. HP increases by 70%. Passive skill. HP increases by 70% and armor increases by 35%. When Grisnar Chainsaw's HP falls below 50%, Hack and Slash has a 100% chance of proccing and a 70% chance of triggering Laser Cannon to deal damage to the target. So when he drops between below 50%, this where it's 70% chance to attack again, that's 100%. So he does hit twice, and then there's a 70% chance he does a third strike with his laser cannon. Now, I don't know if it's a bug or what. When I've used him, I've literally never seen this laser cannon shot proc for me ever. Not once. I used him for a while. I've seen it when the AI is using him as proc against me. I don't know what's up with that. You know, let me know if you're using him and it does proc for you, or if you're not, if you haven't been paying attention, take a look and let me know if you ever see that proc, because to me that was another downside to that, because you're losing quite a bit of damage with that never procking, and that was just my observation. So I kind of moved on from him. And then finally, Charge of Death. Upon death, Grisnar Chainsaw performs a Charge of Death at the enemy, dealing 350% of attack damage to the current target and adjacent enemies. That's a lot of damage. This is just that final blow when he just charges and blows up. Really great when it hits multiple targets and like kills a few or really burns them down. It kind of sucks when it only hits like one target and it just like, you know, hits a really heavy tank and it doesn't kill him, or it doesn't do as seem like it does that much damage. So it can be devastating at sometimes. But again, like I think just the random variability of him with some of his attacks, like the chances of like if all those things are proccing, like he's getting the 3 swings on his ultimate, or he's getting that laser proc and things like that, he could be really effective. But when those things aren't proccing, I think that's where his damage and his utility really drops off. He doesn't have any CC abilities or anything like that, so which makes him just kind of fall in terms of like priority when you look at tanks like Breckham, Kronos, and Phleb. You know, like those guys are just gonna just out tank him. Okay, let's move on. And finally, we have Medusa. She's just amazing. I love this hero so much. She's one of my favorite heroes in the game. I just think her artwork's cool, and she does so much damage. I love playing with heroes that put dots on, like that do things like that, especially poison, and she does a lot of that. So let's take a look at her skills here. Deadly Venom. Waves a magic wand, releasing a venom that deals 80% of attack damage to all enemies, plus 50% attack damage, poison damage for 4 rounds. So yeah, just a whole team AoE, does 80% attack to all of them, and then adds poison damage, 50% attack, poison damage to them for 4 rounds. Yeah, just again, when you spread out those dots across the entire team, it just all that damage really starts to add up. Snake Fang, basic attacks become 3 consecutive Snake Fangs, each dealing 90% of attack damage to a random front row target, plus 50% of attack poison damage for 4 rounds. This is just helping her build up her stacks and just add more poison dots. Again, as the match goes on, as she stays alive longer, that really starts to just melt that enemy team down, and it really starts to weigh on them and just drain, drain them down. But this attack, I love it when it hits like the same person like 3 times, like, because it does so much damage. And when paired with something like Arctic Heart Artifact, when you tech her with that and you're hitting 3 targets, those are 3 chances to freeze them. So if your team's needing a little extra CC support, you can just tech her with that, and you've got some added CC in there. If you have that Arctic Heart leveled to 6, then her ultimate ability also has a chance to, which hits all the enemies, which also has a chance to CC. Definitely like really helpful. I love running Arctic Heart on her. Lethotoxin, attack is increased 70%, and for each stack of poison of the target, Medusa deals an additional 10% of damage to the target. Yeah, just buffing that damage output. Again, she's like a slow build up for her damage. She doesn't come out of the gate swinging hard, like something like Vebulon or something like that. But like she just slowly builds up over time, and as long as she lasts, like she just really starts to destroy the enemy team. And it's mainly because of this ability here, Toxic Burst. When Medusa hits a target, if the target has at least 4 stacks of poison, it will trigger a Toxic Burst, instantly activating all poison, dealing 140% of total remaining damage, up to 1,000% of attack damage. Like basically, yeah, when she hits an enemy with any of her attacks and it hits, and they hit 4 stacks of poison, all that poison bursts at once and does up to 1,000% of damage, and it's huge. When you pair her with some like Aerodel from the Polis faction, who adds poison stacks as well, together they can like really decimate a team. So definitely give her a try. I've seen a lot more people using her. She's, in my opinion, she's a top tier hero, definitely like a tier 1. So give her a try. Let me know what you think. If you guys have any like interesting builds around her and the poison damage, I would love to hear about those. Okay. Well, that's going to be it for today. That's going to wrap up Wastes. I'm going to continue this series to the week, and I'm going to go through the other factions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think about the review. If you disagree with some of my assessments of some of these heroes, if you've built some interesting builds around some of them, love to hear about them in the comments section. Again, thanks, like, sub, leave comments, and we'll see you next time.